Somewhere in the last year, the smartest person you know stopped defending their choices. No announcement, no drama, they just went quiet. That wasn't a mood, that was a calculation, because researchers proved that when you explain yourself, the other person only understands about half of what you think they do, but both of you walk away convinced it worked. 5 reasons smart people fired their inner defense attorney, and number 1 is the tell that separates people who want to understand you from people who want to own you. Quick confession before we start. You've probably already over-explained something today. The text with 3 qualifiers, the sorry, it's just that at work, the reason nobody asked for. That's not politeness, that's childhood software running on adult hardware, and it's quietly billing you every single day. Today, we're putting that habit under the microscope. 5 reasons, real peer-reviewed studies, 0 motivational fluff. And fair warning, once you see the pattern, you can't unsee it. Number 5. The transparency illusion. You're explaining to people who think they already get it. In 1998, psychologist Thomas Gilovich at Cornell documented what he called the illusion of transparency, our stubborn belief that our internal states are obvious to others. Liars thought their nervousness was visible. It wasn't. People assumed their intentions leaked out of them like a broken faucet. They didn't. Now flip it. In 2005, Justin Kruger and colleagues published a study in the Journal of Personality and Social Psychology on email communication. Senders believed the tone of their messages, sarcastic or serious, would be correctly identified nearly 80% of the time. Actual accuracy? Barely above a coin flip. But receivers were just as confident they'd nailed it. Read that again. You explain, they misunderstand, both of you walk away certain it worked. So when you deliver your beautifully rehearsed 3-paragraph justification for skipping Thanksgiving, here's what actually happens. The other person hears roughly 50% of it, reinterprets that half through their own biases, and files it under whatever conclusion they'd already reached. You didn't communicate, you performed a ritual. An expensive one. And here's the cruelest part. The more you elaborate, the worse it gets. Extra words give listeners more raw material to twist through their bias filter. Your 10-minute explanation isn't clearer than your 1 sentence. It's just a bigger target. Precision beats volume every single time. Smart people don't stop explaining because they're cold. They stop because they've done the math on the transmission loss. Number 4. Explanations are negotiation invitations. Here's a fun experiment you've already run 1,000 times without collecting the data. Say no to someone, then add a reason. Watch what happens to the reason. It gets attacked. Not the no, the reason. I can't come, I'm tired. You can sleep tomorrow. I can't lend you money, rent's due. Rent's not due till the 1st. Every justification you attach is a handle, and handles exist to be grabbed. Behavioral scientists Eldar Shafir, Itamar Simonson, and Amos Tversky, yes, that Tversky, showed in their work on reason-based choice that humans don't evaluate decisions holistically. We latch onto individual reasons and argue with those. So when you offer someone a reason, you're not informing them, you're handing them the exact coordinates of where to aim. A no without a reason is a wall. A no with 3 reasons is a wall with 3 doors, and you just handed out the keys. Notice the trap. Once someone defeats your stated reason, you feel logically obligated to comply, even though your real answer was never about that reason. You lost a debate you never needed to enter. Skilled negotiators know this, which is exactly why they keep asking, but why? The smart move isn't rudeness, it's structural engineering. That doesn't work for me. Full stop. Watch how disoriented people get when there's nothing to grab. It's almost artistic. Number 3. You're running a childhood survival program. Time for the uncomfortable origin story. Therapist Pete Walker popularized the term fawn response, the 4th F, alongside fight, flight, and freeze. For kids in unpredictable households, preemptive explaining was genuinely brilliant strategy. If I justify myself before the anger arrives, maybe it won't arrive. That kid deserved a medal. The problem is, that kid is still driving your body at 34, explaining to a coworker why you took your legally mandated lunch break. Here's the part nobody tells you. This isn't a character flaw, it's a habit loop. And habit loops don't dissolve through insight alone. Research on habit formation, including Philippa Lally's 2010 study at University College London, found automatic behaviors take on average 66 days of repeated substitution to rewire, not the mythical 21. So every time you catch the explanation rising in your throat and swallow it, you're not being difficult. You're literally reprogramming a threat response. 66 days of small silences. Over-explaining was a survival tool. So was crawling. You're allowed to stand up now. Number 2, cognitive cost. Explaining is the most expensive thing you do for free. Let's talk about the bill, because there is one. Roy Baumeister's research on self-regulation showed that acts of self-control and impression management deplete a limited pool of mental resources. And what is chronic self-explanation exactly? It's impression management on a subscription plan. You're constantly modeling the other person's mind, predicting objections, pre-answering them. That's theory of mind running at full throttle, one of the most metabolically demanding things your brain does. Meanwhile, here's the twist from Rozenblit and Keil's 2002 Yale research on the illusion of explanatory depth. When people are forced to explain things in detail, they often discover their understanding is shallower than they believed, which means the person demanding you explain yourself frequently can't explain their own position either. You're being audited by someone who's never filed. Smart people redirect that energy. Every explanation you don't give is cognition you get back for work, for creativity, for remembering where you parked. Silence isn't emptiness. It's a refund. Number 1, the people demanding explanations aren't buying, they're stalling. And here's the big one, the reason your smartest friend went quiet. Brendan Nyhan and Jason Reifler's famous 2010 research on political misperceptions found that corrective information often fails to change committed beliefs, and in some cases entrenches them. People don't update because you explained better. Evidence and eloquence bounce off a mind that has already decided. So ask yourself the question smart people eventually ask. If explanations don't change committed minds, what is this person actually requesting? Answer: time, compliance, the spectacle of you auditioning for approval they never intended to grant. The demand for explanation is often not a request for information, it's a request for submission dressed in curiosity's clothing. The tell is simple. A person genuinely seeking understanding is satisfied by an answer. A person seeking control is satisfied by nothing, because dissatisfaction is the mechanism. Smart people stop explaining themselves not because they've run out of words, but because they've started categorizing their audience. Confused ally? Explain generously. Committed prosecutor? I've made my decision. The words are boring on purpose. Boring is unclimbable. So no, your quiet friend didn't get arrogant. They ran the numbers. 50% transmission loss, reasons that become negotiation handles, a survival reflex past its expiration date, a cognitive bill nobody reimburses, and an audience that was never, ever going to say, you know what, fair enough. Explanation is a gift. Gifts go to people who unwrap them, not people who grade them. This week, try one unexplained no. Just one. Note who respects it and who treats it as an opening bid. Congratulations, you've just run the cheapest personality test in psychology.